Hello there. Uh, we're just going to talk about the thing, you know? Talk about that thing. And just talk about it, whatever that thing is. If you got a thing, come on up here and we'll talk about it. You got a thing, something that you want to talk about, then we'll talk about it. The thing that you're dealing with. Just going to talk about that thing for a while. I don't know. Um, there's a Gamma TSE. What's that? What's that thing? That's a thing. You want to come up and talk about it? Talk about the gamma thing. What's the gamma TSE? Let me Google that. Let me just Google that, and we'll talk about that thing. And we'll talk about it. Gamma Group, TSA Limited Company Profile and News, Gamma TSA Limited. Is that what you're talking about? Uh, Gamma TSE's Security and Services and Equipment. What is this gamma thing that you're talking about? I pulled up some Google searches, but um, what's this gamma TSE thing? Winchester, United Kingdom companies, house employees, total assets, earnings, network, financial information. People working at Gamma TSE. What's selling and who's buying it? Uh, yeah. So what's this Gamma TSE about, John? I've been looking at some of your emails and watching them. That one where the guy was writing the code and stuff, I don't understand what he was doing, but saw he was walking around in the woods and whatever. But um, I didn't really get what the point was with it. He was writing, typing out some text and changing the font color in a graphic user interface. But I noticed he was walking around in the woods and that. And then I looked at that other thing that you had. It had some documents. Looked at that. Looked through that. Um, I've been looking at what you've been emailing me here and there. When you were saying I wasn't interested, I'm interested. I look at what you show me, and a lot of the medical journals and stuff about the medical side of the neuromonitoring gadgets and all that. But the thing is, yeah, the medical companies are using that stuff, but as far as them being, behind everybody's gang stalking on, uh, how much of a hand in it, I really don't know how they have. But from what I understand it, the technologies, can be used for good, But these assholes are using them for, clandestine means. I see a WikiLeaks one. I saw one, Gamma TSA Limited WikiLeaks. Is that the one you're talking about? The Gamma Group WikiLeaks? I'll look at that one. That's all I was wanting. What were you talking about? I'm pulling it up right now. So it's Gamma Group newsletter Q1 2011. Uh, IT intrusion seminars, fin phishing, IT intrusion, strategic communications, monitoring solutions, tactical communications monitoring solutions, tactical surveillance systems, vans, cars, tactical surveillance equipment, data recovery and forensic laboratory, technical surveillance countermeasures. So yeah, it looks like they're a group that is into stalking and surveillance. Another one of those companies, kind of like SIS in Seattle is. Uh, um, yeah, this is a pretty long form. New training courses, FinFly Web, FinFly LAN, FinFly ISP. So FinFisher IT intrusion. FinSpy Mobile is an advanced intrusion system which, once implemented into a target's phone, guarantees full access to the communication and built-in features. Uh, FinSpy Mobile setup, user interface, GPS tracking, SMS tracking, strategic communications monitoring solutions. Gamma Group International is a reputable monitoring system integrator for GSM 36 networks. Its monitoring center is a system designed to enable law enforcement agencies and government agencies to perform lawful interception monitoring in an auditable, secure, and reliable manner. It handles intercepts of voice and data in fixed and mobile networks and in the internet or other IP networks. Within the two general forms of intercept, voice and data, it manages a wide range of communication methods. The system installation can vary in size from a few computers to an extensive system of many recorders, data collectors, system servers, and clients, depending on the application. Its complexity ranges from simple passive connection to a single trunk link to being responsible for monitoring an entire country's fixed mobile, NGN, and internet networks. Sophisticated user rights and access control mechanisms have been designed to meet organizational needs of law enforcement and government agencies. So it looks like it's a gang stalking situation. Yeah. Strategic communications monitoring solutions. The FinSpy ISP system is designed to remotely install a remote monitoring solution, e.g. FinSpy, on selected target computer systems by integrating the system into an ISP, IP network infrastructure. Optional FinSpy ISP add-ons include IP shaping and blocking. It goes on, it shows, has diagrams of how they connect to a target through a DSLM access bras, through the cores of an IGW1, IGW3, FinSpy ISP infection proxy. Yeah, it's surveillance. Yeah, I get you with this shit. Yeah. Um, it's definitely some shady shit. Yeah, totally. And this is 2011 that I'm looking at. So yeah, that's you know that's just the thing. These gang stalking surveillance companies and people and criminals or whatever been around for a long ass time. I mean, um, if you really want to dig into it, I mean, MK Ultra has been going on since the '60s, and all these different corporations and whatever nefarious companies are just following suit. They're able to do it because there's no laws against it, and they can track your data, your information, your life, whatever the fuck they want to do, as long as they do it. And they just, um, and as the technology advances, especially with the remote neural monitoring, they don't need cameras anymore. They don't need microphones. They don't need none of that shit anymore. They can follow you and watch you wherever the hell you are, whenever whatever you're doing. And you're not gonna find equipment that they plant in your house because they don't need to plant shit. They don't need to implant shit. They don't need to put shit in your house or in your car. They don't need any of it. And it just keeps spiraling out of control. Pretty soon the new world order, whatever the hell they want to do, Orwellian society they're trying to create, uh, they're able to do whatever they want to whoever they want. But yeah, I found what you were looking at, and like I said, that's 2011. So that's 10 year that's a 10-year old program that they've been screwing people over with. Um, the thing is that a lot of that has to do with law enforcement and government agencies, but now the problem is all that shit that that they invented and they were using is out of their hands, and they've got criminals using it however the hell they want to. There's no checks and counterbalances to what they do with it to you, and how they use the information they gather, and they don't really give a shit who the hell they give it to, you know, and what the hell they're going to do with it to you. Hey, News, how you doing, buddy? Um, anyway, but yeah, that's just like it has a far-reaching, and the infrastructure of it is just it how do you stop something that's embedded in everything, right? Yeah, I, I don't doubt that a bit. I mean, if you look back in history, that uh, what the like you said, the alphabet agencies and whatever have done, and the government has done. Um, you can, for Christ's sake, they injected their own people with syphilis. They fucking experimented on them with LSD. Uh, you know, psyops bullshit for years. But um, all the different technologies they come up with, they aren't gonna test it on the enemy. They're gonna test it on you know volunteers, but they don't need you to volunteer if they don't tell you they're doing it. Because all they have to do is plausible deniability. We don't know what you're talking about. What about Bad Cops? What you got? Watching a movie HBO Max, almost over, a movie called the Slow Hustle. Um, Bad Cops in Baltimore. What happened in Baltimore? You want me to Google that shit, or you got something to say about it? Because I'll sit here and read it. I read pretty good. I'm a pretty quick reader. Um, let me look that up. What's it about? Bad Cops in Baltimore. I'll just type that. We'll see what Google talks about with Bad Cops in Baltimore. We'll see if Google will comply about Bad Cops in Baltimore. Who were the corrupt Baltimore police officers? I guess so. In 2018, no, that's probably not what you're talking about. You're talking about right here lately, aren't you? Corrupt former Baltimore police officer gets sentences May 25th, 2021. Bad cops about to cost Baltimore City another $8 million. November 13th, 2020. Gee, March 24th, the elite Baltimore cop who became criminals. Well, wow, you know. Hey, Baltimore, get a rein in on your fucking police, for sake. Well, I just googled what you said there, bad cops in Baltimore, and it comes up with all kinds of bad cops in Baltimore. In Baltimore, corrupt police shows limits of reform. September 28, 2020, member of a Baltimore police unit known as the Gun Trace Task Force, which has been tasked with getting firearms off the street, were using. It only shows. Uh, it's just like, come on, really? Um, After the death of Freddie Gray in 2015, all eyes were on the police officers accused of causing the fatal spinal injury Gray suffered while in police custody. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, I'm not even I'm not even defining a search, and it's just like America's most corrupt police squad, Baltimore, and this is July 2020, and the Gun Trace Task Force. America's most corrupt police squad, Baltimore, and the Gun Trace Task Force. Golly, that's just. And I just Google, that's all I did. I said bad cops in Baltimore. Well, gee, many. Uh, oh, here. Let's just see what CNN says. Baltimore is ahead of the game with police reform. Freddie Gray case fallout has put Baltimore ahead of the game with police reform. There's much work still to be done. Sure sounds like it. Nearly 5 years ago, 25-year-old black man whose death in police custody sparked historic unrest in the city ended with no convictions. No convictions. Of course. After 3 officers in the case were each tried and acquitted, Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby went to West Baltimore, where Gray was raised and arrested, to announce that she would be dropping charges against the remaining officers. Mosby said she must consider the dismal likelihood of conviction, describing the decision as agonizing. Yeah, sounds pretty agonizing. But anyway, it's not something I had been privy to before, but wow, I'll just have to do a Google search. And there you are. Hey, Baltimore, what are you doing? Come on. I hadn't heard of it before either until you just told me, and I just Googled it, and it's like, looks like it's been going on for like 7 years now. Hey, America, corrupt ass cops in Baltimore everywhere. It looks like. Yeah, it's the Trace Force Gun Squad. That's what it was talking about, and they're still trying to deal with it. Well, that's just the thing, news. There's, I mean, there are crooked cops everywhere, and from what I've been understanding is if the good cops speak up, and and try and be the good cop. The collective of bad cops get them forced out of a job and shit. And it's just it's looking more and more like the corrupt Nazi regime or whatever the hell's going on with the world today is just, it doesn't seem to pay to be a good person anymore, right? Well, that's another case where the planning of drugs. I mean, I've seen videos where the cop on the same cam will be putting the drugs in the car, and then he'll walk away and come back and say, "Oh, look what I found," and it's yeah. But let's see. There's a thing. We're talking about a thing here again. Some other thing, just the thing. And I put the link up if anybody else wants to come in here and just blather with me, because that's all I'm going to do. I haven't got a I haven't got a topic really today. That's why I called it "Let's Talk About the Thing." The thing. Got a thing. You brought up a thing, and we're talking about the thing. John brought up a thing, and I talked about the thing. Um, the the scope of corruption. Let's talk about the scope of corruption in government. Let's just see what Google says about the scope of corruption in government, because I said it, right? Let's just see what Google has to say about the scope of corruption in the government. A modern definition of the scope of corruption, and this is 2017. Let's see, true corruption and economic development helping countries. Corruption within government can take place at both the political and the bureaucratic levels. The first may be independent of the second, or they may be. Yeah, I'm not going to go into it. Corruption around the world. And this is in 2019. In countries without such tradition, the more invasive role of government played through higher taxes, high public spending, and more widespread regulations. I'm just trying to get something that's more up to date here. 2018, that's a little old still, 5 years old. Corruption in international business. Corruption and the paradox of transparency. It's law, Stanford EDU. Let's see what they have to say. This is the abstract. Corruption is widely defined as the abuse of public office for private gain. The definition has several technological shortcomings and encourages anti-corruption reformers to design strategies in line with principal agent solutions that usually target government officials and not others. Despite the widespread prevalence of this framework and the massive transparency and accountability anti-corruption campaigns that have followed, corruption continues to afflict governments and societies globally. This is because corruption presents something more complex than a principal agent problem. Unlike many other kinds of illegal or immoral acts, it carries steep collective political costs that have the ability to derail typical principal agent for reform efforts. Corruption should therefore be redefined as an event that occurs when an actor seeks an unauthorized benefit from an organization in a manner that could compromise the public's trust in that organization. In other words, fucking liars. By focusing on the effects of the corrupt act on trust in organizations, this new definition encourages anti-corruption strategies that take account of broader considerations beyond simply punishing the agent. Yeah. And that comes from Stanford Law School, the Rule of Law program. It's Stanford Law brings together a diverse set of scholars who are interested in the theory and practice of international development and state building. Our work is supported by grants from Stanford Seed, the U.S. State Department, and Anonymous Donors. The faculty director of the Rule of Law program is Eric Jensen. And it goes on to say what is corruption, and I'm not gonna go into that. Short history of corruption studies, but yeah. Let's see. It's not something I know. How does COVID-19 entrench state capture and threaten democracies, preventing government corruption in crisis? The fifth paper in the international. What does it say after that? I'm just going to look at that. Preventing corruption and government corruption in crises. This is just a lot of jargon, but let's get down to the bottom here. They usually have a summary of what's going on with that. The judiciary should reduce the level of individual judges' discretion where possible by ensuring that court procedures are clear and transparent, ensure the proceedings allow appropriate level of transparency and public access, continue operating public complaint mechanisms, and inform the public of how to report judicial misconduct. You're supposed to already know how to do that shit. You went to school for that. But anyway, that was from the IFES COVID-19 briefing series. There's just a lot of crap. Is the government corrupt? Find comprehensive information on a variety of topics online. Search on Legal Boulevard, search materials and resources to help you find more information. Search Legal Boulevard. Yeah. Hacking corruption in the digital era. Hyde Cycle for Digital Government Technology 2019. Particularly vulnerable to corruption and governments. Let's look at that. That looks interesting. Hacking corruption in the digital era. How tech is shaping the future of integrity in times of crisis. Agenda for business integrity. Integrity analytics powered by ever-expanding data are a corruption game changer. The COVID-19 pandemic increases corruption risks. Corruption thrives in times of tragedy. Pandemic outbreaks and natural disaster are fertile ground for fraud. To fight the COVID-19 pandemic, government need to act urgently to save lives in the midst of the worst pandemic in a century. And short-term containment of the pandemic and management of the health crisis require emergency powers to procure medical supplies swiftly to save lives, suspending standard procurement rules. In the medium term, the emergency programs and recovery packages the governments are developing with the backing of the International Monetary Fund and multilateral development banks to respond to the economic and social consequences of the health crisis will involve deployment vast amounts of resources in a very short time to protect the vulnerable, shield all small businesses, and revive the economy. So they're saying in emergency transparency saves lives. To confront the COVID pandemic, technology is the best prescription against corruption. Tech trends are shaping the future of integrity. Yeah. How tech is taking shape of the future of integrity. Tech for integrity, opportunity for businesses, bunch of stuff. But flat out says it right there that COVID, COVID opens the door for corruption because they're able to, uh, lock us down, uh, you know, such things as rendering the economy defunct, pretty much. Amazon servers went down today for 2 hours. He has his targets with will not hope till we can gain some major funding. Hydantic, formerly known as Track and Trace up to 2016, you probably won't find that. The system needs to be purged, yeah. The system is targeting us. In the movie, they protest and nothing happens. There has to be a better approach to fixing our targeting. Well, see, that's what I was. I don't know, on your live the other night when we were just chatting. Um, as a collective, we targets need to, like you were saying, is come together, but we need to do it in a manner that can. Uh, I'd like to say enforce, some litigation, but I would mean to make some litigation ensue to where they actually lay down some laws. I mean, because there's like I was watching Kevin Christian talk about it today. The laws of engagement. When the reality is you're being attacked by individuals with these weapons, and what can you do about it? I mean, it's about defending yourself, and that's basically what we want to do, is defend ourselves and uh, get some sort of closure with this shit. But there's really, the thing is, there's no precedent set in a litigatory manner that we can do anything about it. We can't get any kind of assistance legally. You can't get any you know you can't get anything done in a real sense that helps us. um, and when you do talk about it to somebody, you're shunned, or since you're already on the list, they're going to just demean you some more. uh, I mean, it's not like any of us consented to being targeted. It's not like, yeah, sure, come on, whatever, do it to me. Nobody's saying that shit. Nobody's saying, they want to be targeted. They want to be stalked, harassed, surveyed, threatened, demeaned. Nobody wants that shit. Nobody wants to be raped, murdered. What the hell, right? You're not gonna admit. You're not gonna say, "Oh yeah, sure, I consent to that shit. Yeah, do it." Just like he was saying, it's like, what are your your legal responsibilities? I mean, when you're being physically attacked by somebody, when you're able to defend yourself legally. And in this fashion, it's not. There's no cut and dry, no cut and dry paperwork. I mean, there's nothing really that can fall back on and say, you're being stalked, you're being harassed, you're being threatened, you're being stole from, you're being hacked, you're being spied on. they're stealing your information, all this stuff. But when when you go to try and take legal action, you get a negative response. I mean, when when a psycho killer comes after you with a knife, and um, your instinct is to defend yourself. You're going to defend yourself from somebody trying to kill you. However, they're trying to kill you. Oh, yeah, I agree. We need a new system to fix this, but what we need is an actual, not necessarily a new system. We need a system that actually acknowledges it. It's not that there's a system already in place that it doesn't acknowledge it. It doesn't acknowledge the ideology behind being gang stalked and and the technology and shit behind it. That's it right there. They look at us as nuts. But like I was saying, if you're being attacked by a psycho killer with a knife, and um, they 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 don't throw it back in your face and attack you as the victim. They understand that, yeah, this psycho killer tried to fucking stab you in the nuts, and you tried to defend yourself, and oh, they're not going to say, oh, you're schizophrenic and paranoid. This guy didn't actually try and come and stab you in the nuts, right? They're not going to tell you that. But as you're being targeted, if you mention, oh, a group of people are targeting me and harassing me and threatening me and, blah, 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 doing all this shit. Oh, you're nuts. You're paranoid. Get fucking serious. I mean, there's fucking thousands of us that are being harassed and targeted. And I'm sorry, but not everybody being targeted is fucking crazy, all right? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Now, how would you how would you propose we do that? As in general, as a target, I'm talking about myself personally. I'm a poor person. I get disability payments. I can pay my bills, and after that, there's there's no money for fucking hiring lawyers and private investigators and filing fucking court cases and all this shit. And I know there's a hundreds if not thousands of other targets that are in the same boat I am. I mean, like you said, they ruined your job. They ruined everything. They ruin everything they touch. Uh, I, I don't disagree with that at all, John. Because it's like every time I even you know I've talked to um, more than one attorney. And it's the second you bring up anything that sounds like a gang stalking or targeting, they clam the fuck up. I can't help you. They're not going to help you anymore. The minute that you can tell them all about the harassment and the stalking and all that shit and the hacking and all that stuff, but the second you bring up you think you're being gang stalked, that just fucking shit on everything you told them, because they're not going to listen to anything else, because there's there's a stopgap put in place. I'm perfectly certain of this, that no matter what's happening to you, if you mention you're a targeted individual or being gang stalked, they don't give a fuck what proof you have anymore. They're not going to listen to you. That they immediately shut up because they're told to, and they just are not going to do anything because they know it's a big fucking corrupt game, and there's a fucking shit ton of people in on it fucking us over. That's just it. That's exactly it. They hate that word right there. They hate the word gang stalked because, well, I think the main reason is because there's millions of fucking people doing it. I mean, like I've said before, you can Google and find a gang stalking job. I, I can I'll just Google it right now myself. Again, gang stalking jobs, and I'll just tell you how many fucking pages come up that have stuff to do with gang stalking. Well, at the bottom, you know how Google works. Well, let's just see this here. We'll just show you. We'll just show you, and you can look all for yourself. We'll just share the screen, and the tab. We'll just share the tab right here. Share the tab. Right? Gang stalking jobs. There's 10 pages full of stuff. Starts out with gang stalking jobs in the USA, how to gang stalking jobs, gang stalking jobs, employment in Indeed.com, gang stalking jobs, Kitco, information for employers about gang stalking and targeting, marketing directory, just harassment techniques. They're going to show you here mobbing or true gang stalking, where everywhere you go will see an overt display of people, all in areas of their life, job performance, relationship. Um, Bellflower, crime jobs available. Hundreds of crime jobs for immediate start. Apply online today. Let's see. Remote position jobs, whatever that is. Amway, gang stalkers, Glassdoor, 5 steps to helping stalking victims. Be aware of human trafficking, gang stalking. Just local jobs, internships, searches related to gang stalking. Gang stalking, hiring, $24 to $45 an hour. Apply in seconds.com, jobs, gang stalking position. Organized gang stalking, black bag jobs. Closing the gap, gang stalking. Yeah, come on. Come in here into this chat right now, you fucking trolls that say, oh, gang stalking doesn't exist. You're paranoid. Yeah, read fucking Google, motherfucker. Gang stalking casting call. Government gang stalking and electromagnetic torture. Come on. Gang stalking groups. Meet up. Find over 3 gang stalking groups with 388 members near you, and meet people in your local community who share your interests of gang stalking. Gang stalking jobs pay scale. QuickPulse.com. The nightmarish online world of gang stalking. Come on, tell me gang stalking doesn't exist. Fucking dumb bastards. Gang stalking is torture funded through entitlements. Government jobs are rewards given to those who participate in Bill Clinton's cops gang stalking program. Hey, Bill Clinton was doing this shit. Come on. Really? Right? Come on. Organized gang stalking, also known as gang stalking, is sometimes associated with mobbing, intense organized harassment, black bag jobs. Come on, really? Up to $32 an hour for plus 1,000 remote jobs. No experience is needed. Hire part-time and full-time remote jobs. Thousands of new jobs near you. Apply online. Stalker jobs. 14 urgent openings. 14 urgent openings. Urgent. They got more targets for you to fuck with. Gang stalking. Yes, gang stalking happens at your job too. See, come on, for real, right? Wait, right? Wait, what? What? Come on. I mean, you get the chief handlers and these other dimwit fucking numbnuts come in here saying, "Oh, gang, who'd want to stalk you? Gang stalking isn't real. You're paranoid." Bullshit, motherfucker! I just told you right. I just showed you where you can go right now and get you a fucking job gang stalking me, bastard. Where you can stalk TI News and stalk John in here and stalk every other fucking target that's on YouTube. Paranoid my fucking ballsack. Right? We need to all take a gang stalking job. I don't think they would hire us, to be honest, News, because we're targets. We'd be on their their corporate list, and you're not gonna be added to the club. You know what I mean? You're already what the club's about. You're the reason the club fucking exists. Well, John, you say I won't discover who's behind it. I just fucking Googled several companies that are behind it. They're advertising for this shit. They're behind it. If they're hiring motherfuckers to do it, they're behind it. They got their balls in it. They're in balls deep. They're behind it. They're part of it. Their grubby little hands are bloody with it. And the fact that Google's letting them advertise that shit tells me their fucking hands are bloody too. I mean, come on, you look at you. YouTube is a sister company of Google, and there's these fucking groups on here that are stalking the shit out of people right here. So they got their hands in it. They know what's going on. They know exactly what the fuck's going on. Just like the FBI knows it's not a mystery. It's not a goddamn mystery weapon. They know what the hell they're doing. But how are you going to do that, News, when they already know everything about you? It's not like changing your name's going to help, because you're already being monitored with remote neural monitoring. They'll say, well, this guy says his name's Donnie Wan, but we know it's really Scott Schmier, because he's, here he is on our remote neural monitoring fucking gadget right here in front of us. Oh yeah, my neighbors are definitely fucking balls deep in this shit, man. My next door, one fucking two or three houses over, a couple houses over here, they're all fucking doing it. And I know they're doing it because they'll walk in front of my house doing it. Fucking screams out his door doing it. I got the bastard recorded on my channel here live, screaming out his fucking door while I'm doing a live show. Surprised he isn't doing it right now. But who? News? Who do you trust? Who do you trust that you would think would be on your side that isn't involved in this shit? Right? You know what I mean? Right? Who you gonna get? Who you gonna get that you sure isn't a gang stalker already? I just, it's like you were saying, the system is fucked. It it's corrupt. It's corrupt all the way to the fucking top. After looking at just looking at that one WikiLeaks you had me look at, I believe you 100% that this Gamma TSE group is totally into that shit. They're talking about the protocols and equipment and the the surveillance and of targets. But yeah, it's just it's not going to end. It's not going to end when the whole fucking system is corrupt. And I'm talking the world. We're talking the world here. This isn't just USA. This isn't just, you know, it isn't localized. It's globalized. And they all know the shit's happening. I mean, like like I just said, you know, the crows outside your window are crowing. What are they crowing? I mean, you know, just like I just showed you. I hope you could see the screen I was showing you, where I was going through the Google searches. I mean, you want a job? There it is. There are gang stalking jobs everywhere. Um, I wouldn't work for those fucking scumbags for no amount of money. I don't give a fuck if it is $45 an hour. I mean, after what I've seen they've been doing to me and to people I know like you and whoever else is a target. I mean, I know people they fucking killed. So what incentive could they give me? You know, I'm glad I'm on this side. I'm glad I'm a target rather than a gang stalker. I'm on the right side of history, motherfucker. Not you, bastards. Fucking gang stalker scumbags. Well, it has a bird has a brain. Your dogs have a brain. You have a brain. They're able to fuck with your brains. So, um, animals have brains. They can manipulate them too. I'm pretty damn sure they can. They can manipulate people like we've seen them do. They can sure the hell do it to animals. We need a big sponsor. But that's just what I'm getting at. Who's going to be this sponsor? Who is going to be that sponsor that you're going to be absolutely certain is not already, like I say, hip deep into this shit, that isn't already perpetrating the shit themselves. I mean, I was watching Elon Musk's going to be creating a new phone, right, with Tesla. It's gonna have neural monitoring technology in it. It flat out says it on the damn Google ad. Flat out talks about it having the connected to your brain technology in it. So, what big sponsor? Who would you suggest? You got any suggestions? The only person that I could actually think of that might not be hip deep in it, that has a shitload of money like that, would be somebody like Richard Branson, since he's always bucked against the system pretty much. Um, uh, that's actually not a bad suggestion, Jesse Ventura, since he's always been, like I was saying, bucking against these fuckers too. But how are you gonna petition him? That's the thing. How are you gonna get in touch with Jesse Ventura and explain to him the overall severity and encompassing value of gang stalking? Um, there's a, I guess there's a plethora of ways you could go. You could try and maybe email him or whatever, but emails are so impersonal. I really don't know. I, as far as like a, a rich entrepreneur philanthropist, I mean that you know that you would be absolutely certain isn't involved in this crap. I mean, Bill Gates, negative. Um, I wouldn't say Elon Musk because he's already building this shit, trying to stick fucking chips up your ass. I don't know. I really wouldn't know who you would talk to that has enough money and would be interested. I mean, that's just it. What he's gonna, who's gonna, you know, be willing to allocate their funds to helping out a lowly target or group of targets. I mean, we've got PAX International. They got an organization going, but I there's other targeted individual groups, but um, as far as anything comprehensive happening for us, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing there's no light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. Well, um, yeah, um, that's just a problem with the way the gang stalker community works and how they do get victims to kill themselves or be killed with their soft kill method, where they over time cause their health to deteriorate or their mental state to deteriorate. um, the tangibility of it. um, it's not like they're walking up to people and shooting them in the back of the head execution style. I mean, uh, so I mean, they are killing people, but they're doing it in a manner that like I said, it isn't it isn't mafioso style. They're killing them in a way that there's really no actual trail. Like I said, I'm absolutely certain there's since this group moved in here, half a dozen people have died, men over 50, and every one of them, 6 old men, and I'm going to be number 7. They're working on me right now in this little trailer park I live in with 26 spaces in it. As I've said, oh, calm down, leave him alone. But yeah, uh, well, there's with the protests. I mean, I've seen a couple protests, but there's never any sufficient numbers that they get. Anything. I mean, uh, you're not going to get you're not going to get mainstream media to look at you like you are with how uh, how Alyssa Milano gets with her, whatever she does when she's protesting. Even though there's like only 10 or 12 of them, it's got Alyssa Milano there standing with them, so they're going to give media coverage. We, we, like you're saying, we need someone that actually people look at and listen to. Um, some kind of activist that's actually, you know, noticeable. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know. But as far as like creating a coalition of, targeted individuals, maybe, but I don't know how. Yeah, well, that's all I've been trying to do, John, is expose them. I mean, and I have no problem saying who I know the people are that have targeted me. I got no problem saying their names. I got no problem at all. Not worried about, oh, you doxed me. Oh, your name's public, asshole. Doxing is if you're trying to go under a surname. If your name's public, I'm not doxing shit. If you got a Twitter with your name and a fucking Instagram with your name, I'm not doxing you for shit. Who's that? Who are you talking about? Who's covered it before a decade ago? Talking about Kroner? Um, he actually worked. This guy I'm talking about worked with SIS. It's part of up in Seattle, and they're a surveillance company that gang stalked, and he turned against them and started speaking out against them, and he's pretty much disappeared offline, pretty much. But uh, I would love to be able to grab a hold of Edward Snowden's ear for about 10 minutes. I mean, he's 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 definitely visible, even though he's not here. He's visible, and I really wouldn't think he'd be wanting to put his stamp of approval on anything, considering he's already having to deal with the shit he's dealing with. Even though he talks about remote neural monitoring in his 10-year-old interview or whatever it is. I know he wouldn't be looking at you like you're crazy because he's seen the shit in action. Uh, I have been emailing someone um, that's got a prototype shield and actually a detector to detect the technology and to shield yourself from the technology that he's working on. I've emailed back and forth with him a couple times. Um, had him come look at my channel and some of the evidence that I presented. Um, haven't heard back from him for a couple weeks, but I haven't really said much else to him. But they're working on a prototype to defend ourselves. I don't know how much it's going to cost when it's actually in production or whatever. Um, yeah. I understand you probably don't want to mention his name. I get that, who it might be. Um, you have anything you want to come up here and talk about news? Got any things? Any interesting interesting comments you'd like to come up here and chat? Anybody? I'll pop the link out there again for anybody who wants to come up here and talk. Probably getting tired of hearing me talk. I get tired of listening to myself talk. So, I've been going on for about an hour, but talking about the thing. I haven't got my camera hooked up. I'm using a microphone. Just a microphone. I could put my camera on if you wanted, but I'm not really interested in being on camera right now. I took a bath and whatnot. I'm clean. I just don't feel like being on camera right now. Well, I appreciate that. Um, I appreciate that. Uh, I haven't. I haven't done much research this last week or so. I haven't been really looking into stuff. But I think for the rest of this week, I'm gonna probably focus on some more on the augmented reality and the virtual reality and the deep fake aspect of their game, the gang stalking game, because it is a big game. It's a big deep faking game that they're pulling on people. Uh, it's a lot of misdirection and they have people out there that are perpetuating disinformation, things that are just ludicrous. That's and they're getting people to believe them. And that's kind of what you were talking about the other day, Ti News, is that there's so many different factions of the belief of what gang stalking is really about and what they're doing. Um, that's kind of why I pretty much delegate myself to the science and the tactics. I'm not going to go into Illuminati, Freemasons, uh, aliens, Men in Black, um, religiousness. I'm not going into the spiritual shit. None of that stuff. I'm not doing none of that. You're not going to hear that here. I'm talking about the technology and the tactics and the overall crimes. Things of a statistical and tangible nature. Um, if you want to if you want to talk about the speculation of aliens or AI and taking over the world and that kind of shit, I'm not going to get into that. Um, what do you mean by top players run games? You mean like video games? I understand that there is a faction of it entrenched in the media and entertainment and medicine. That's how I mean that it's so far reaching and it has infested so many different facets of our society in a real sense that the weeding out of it, um, it's kind of like the Hydra. You cut one head off and two more pop up in its place. And when you've got people advertising for gang stalkers to be hired, you need 14 more right now. Hurry up. Um, yeah. Um, they're recruiting more and more people, and more people are doing it. And the targets are just getting bombarded more and more. And we just have uh, the sum of all fear. Yeah. Uh, um, there's Ella. Ella Free usually has been doing a lot of stuff to deal with helping gangs, people being gang stalked, but I haven't seen her do anything in the last few months. I know she was feeling ill for a while, but and she never got. I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any videos from her, and she usually has people on there that uh, have something in the works, but haven't seen anything. And I've been reading my newsletters from PAX International, and um, and uh, other people I know are doing petitions and whatnot again, to see, watching the litigation that's happening, that we do have happening, but maybe get something done as far as the Congress and whatever. But it's not happening fast enough, really, because it's growing exponentially and it just keeps getting. Yeah, I see more and more people being targeted. Um, because once they're done with a target, they have to have another supply, so they move on to someone else to slander and defame and destroy. Um, uh, and it's worked that way right here in this trailer park where I live in. They move from one to the next. Once they pick you, they're gonna work on you until they get rid of you, and then they're gonna pick someone else and work on them until they get rid of you. And they don't stop. It's 24/7. You know that. Once you're targeted, it's not going to end for you until it's over, or you are. But I think if there uh, nobody wants to come up and talk or whatever or anything else, I pretty much have blown my blown my cap on everything that I was going to talk about for this evening. Um, yeah, I'm absolutely sure it is, and you probably know a couple of them in person, don't you? And that's the sad part of it. Excuse me. But the only thing we can do is, I guess, stay strong in our convictions of not joining the beast. Because, as I've said, they've tried to recruit me 4 times that I can count. That I'm absolutely certain I was being groomed to be recruited. And I turn them down flat, and I'm always going to turn them down flat. So I would never do this shit to anyone. I don't care how much I hate the son of a bitch. I'm not going to do it. Um, I mean, there are some people that I wish they'd fall off a cliff or get hit by a bus, but I'm not going to do this to them. I'm not going to go after somebody's family, their friends, and, you know, and all this blatant bullshit that these people do to you. I sure as hell I'm not gonna sit here 24 hours a day telling someone how much I hate them and I want to kill them all day long, all day, every day. I'm not gonna watch somebody's dreams. I'm not gonna follow them to a fucking grocery store. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do any of that. So I'm gonna end this stream. Thank the 6 of you for coming out, and thank you for talking to me and TI News and John. I haven't seen any comments from anybody else. So you all have a good morning. It's 1 a.m. here now, Southern California, wherever you are. Good morning, good evening, and good night, as Truman would say, since basically we're, as targeted individuals, we're in our own Truman show. So you have a good night. Take care.